All right. So, hi, Rebel Legion, and those watching Rebelthon this year. I am here with author John Jackson Miller. He is the author of a lot of books, including several Star Wars books. I have just a few of them here. Actually, I think I have all of the ones you've written, right, for Star Wars.
It's I've got a whole bookcase over here, so it's too many to hold.
I at least have several of them.
Oh, very good.
Anyway, so we are here to talk about the Star Wars ones today. And I should introduce myself as well. I am Melinda Lane. I'm with Takadana Base in Idaho, a little chunk of Montana as well. So let's get going. What's your favorite Star Wars moment?
Well, I think, in terms of actually watching the movies, and I've talked about this before, I went to see Return of the Jedi on the last day of school. I mean, school had just let out early at noon. Mm-hmm. My best friend and I and a lot of the other kids all went to the big theater that was showing it. And, we all decided we would sit together I decided foolishly to sit in the front of the very first row, and I realized that was not a good place to watch a movie from about then. It's not the same as a concert. You don't necessarily want to be up front. But yeah, we all watched the movie, craning our necks to do so. And the thing that was crazy is that you get to the end of the film where, spoilers, Darth Vader is looking back and forth between Luke and Darth Vader. And I don't know if we started this or because we were in front or not, but everybody in the theater stood up and they were cheering for Vader to do the right thing. Go, go, go. And when Vader actually reaches for the Emperor, bedlam. Everybody just went absolutely crazy. And, I've never seen that kind of a response to a movie. Spontaneously people standing up like that, that wasn't something like Rocky Horror or something like that, where the participation was supposed to be part of it. But yeah, that was something crazy. Obviously since then, anytime I've seen, my Star Wars work reaching people and, meeting the fans and the people, the first people who costumed as characters from my novels and comics, that was just really cool. And just countless interactions in there, and then of course working with groups like Rebel Legion and the 501st and the Mandalorian Mercs and all the various different fan groups. I have back here. I made sure to put out my my Rebel Legion plaque from when I got in. It's been a real help over the years. Doing certainly signings at mass market bookstores like Barnes and Noble or at libraries. The costume groups always come out and support things. So these are all highlights for me of interacting with the Star Wars on a bunch of different levels as a viewer and as a creator and as somebody who goes out talking about it.
That all sounds so awesome. I know one thing I really enjoy about being in Rebel Legion is being able to be a part of that. So, okay. What's your favorite part of your own Star Wars books?
Oh, wow. There are just a lot of different moments. One of the secrets about me is I'm actually a comedy writer. I prefer to have stories where there's some comic relief, and certainly there is that in Star Wars, and I have found a place for it in all of the novels that I've written. There's always room for the jokes. I think another thing is, I really enjoy writing sections where we actually get to see what the rest of the world is like, beyond these heroes that are moving around in their big mythical story. There are countless examples in my own work in Knights of the Old Republic, and things like Knight Errant. One of my favorite characters in that is a guy who makes a living hauling artillery around, Jero Rusher, and we get to see a lot about how his business works, with working for the various Sith Lords and everything. And again, with New Dawn, dealing with the miners and how they interact with the Empire. There are just all these opportunities to show what regular life is like, and certainly in the Kenobi novel, we got a lot of that. And you want to be able to write the main characters, you want to be able to write the big events, but juxtaposing the two is, I think, really interesting to people.
Definitely. That was definitely one of my favorite parts of Kenobi, personally. Which character was the hardest to write?
One of the things that was challenging, I don't want to say hardest necessarily, but when I wrote New Dawn, the TV show hadn't come out yet. There was no, I worked with the story group to give me a sense of who Kanan was, and I had the story Bible in terms of what everybody else was going to be like that I would be dealing with. But Hera in particular, I did not know what her character would necessarily sound like and act like, as to the same extent as I knew with Kanan. And also, I was not really supposed to get into anything having to do with her backstory. I knew what her backstory was, but I think one of the things people said when the book came out is, oh, well, you don't really give us a lot of her history. Well, that wasn't my place. It's just the TV show's place to be able to do that. And so, even so, and again, the story group was helpful with this, with the executive producers of the TV show. We did a story that I think captured those characters as well as could be captured for a TV series that did not come out for a month until after the novel came out. I really was glad when Vanessa, who does the voice of Hera, said that she really liked the interpretation, and she ended up doing a clip, a reading of a Hera chapter for, I think it was Entertainment Weekly that it ended up running on, and that's on the New Dawn. The link to that is on the New Dawn page on my website.
I'm gonna have to go find that.
It's farawaypress.com, so there's pages for all of my different books.
Okay, and what do you see as the core of writing for a Star Wars story?
Well, I think the important thing is you want to make it feel like Star Wars. Whether you're writing, for that or for some of the other franchises I've written for, Star Trek, Halo, Mass Effect, Simpsons, it's got to feel like what it's portraying. I mean, you don't want to just repeat the greatest hits of Star Wars. You don't want to just write every story so it's like putting the movie on shuffle, so that it's just a little bit different. It's like, the joke I have about it is, there's already a book for that. It's Star Wars Mad Libs. One Jedi Knight, one Sith Lord, one planet destroying threat. You want to be able to tell a story that stands on its own and is kind of unique, but at the same time, it's got to have that feeling of, this has the same themes of Star Wars. This has the same, the same feel. You don't want to do something which is heavily scientific, for example. That's something where everybody asks what the difference is between writing Star Wars and Star Trek, which I've done a lot of here recently. Star Trek, you can make the science or the pseudoscience be a part of the plot, be a part of the story. You really don't want to do that in Star Wars, getting into details of how things work. People love those details, and people are willing to go out and buy the manuals for these things. But it was not the case that the Star Wars movies spent a lot of time explaining things, explaining how things worked, or what hyperspace was, or what the Navicomputer did. While there's the temptation, particularly when writing a novel, to wallow in that kind of stuff and sort of go the full Tom Clancy, explaining how things function and how things work. You really have to watch it, because again, Star Wars is space opera. It is a fantasy. Those elements are part of it, but they don't feel like Star Wars if you focus just on them.
Okay, and which part of writing Kenobi did you find the most difficult, and which part the most fun?
Well, getting it to the point where we could write it was probably the most difficult, because again, this is a story a lot of people know, but I originally conceived of Kenobi as a comic book, as a graphic novel, about 7 years before the actual novel came out. And even then, the idea was that 90% of the story was going to be told from the point of view of other people. It was going to be about their interactions with him. I did not want his history, what he was going through. I wanted that to be a part of the story, but I didn't want it to be the dominant part of the story. And so it actually probably was something that was better suited for prose. And when we got to write it as a novel, I ended up sort of having that challenge of, every character, I have to determine, what do they know about the universe? What do they know about Obi-Wan Kenobi? What is known about him elsewhere or on Tatooine or anything like that? What would he expect them to know, and how will that color his perceptions and has his responses to people? And then, of course, as the novel goes on and he gets into action, the challenge there is, he's working, with really one hand tied behind his back. He's not able to bring out the lightsaber in public. He's not able to use the Force in any way that's going to get him in trouble. He's trying to keep a low profile. He's trying not to get involved with anything ever again. And one of the descriptions that I use about it is that this is the novel where Superman learns to be Clark Kent. He cannot respond as a Jedi or as Obi-Wan in situations but we keep throwing him into situations where he must, find some way to do what he's going to do. Whether it's knocking out the lights so nobody can see, or making sure that everybody evacuates from the bar before something happens. He has to kind of be careful the entire time. And this is just 1 month of him being careful. Imagine writing the entire 19 years or however long it is that he's on Tatooine. He's not able to actually show who he really is, except for there are moments in the book where he does show who he is, and not just by showing a lightsaber, but people do get to know him, and they do kind of get to know what kind of person he is.
Definitely. I love that one. Okay, that was all the questions I had on that. I have lots of other questions, but I can't ask them at a Star Wars interview. They might object to Star Trek questions or something.
Well, no, I don't know they'll object. I think everybody knows that I work in a bunch of different sandboxes at the same time. I've got a Trek novel for Picard coming out in August, but at the same time, I've got coming out in July. We have the Knights of the Old Republic collection of all of the comics, everything I did, 1,344 pages. They're all coming out in a omnibus edition from Marvel. It's called the Star Wars Legends Omnibus, The Old Republic, Volume 1. And it has everything that is in the first 3 epic collections that they did. So it's going to have everything that was in not just the comics themselves, the stories, but it's also got the handbook that we did, and it's also got the pages, the text pages that I wrote, and I think there's even an essay or 2 that I wrote for the series that's in there. So that is coming out July 7th, and it's available at comic shops with 2 different covers. And then there's just one cover, the Brian Ching cover, which is available at Barnes and Noble and Amazon and places like that. And people can find that online, find them at their comic shop, find it on my website. And then, of course, my most recent thing for Star Wars that I have out is I did a story with Ray Sloan that's in the Empire Strikes Back from a Certain Point of View book. And that came out at the end of last fall. And of course, she is a part of Star Wars Squadrons as well, and that's kind of cool that she's part of that. And that's something where that's now two of those Certain Point of View books I've done. So we'll see what happens again in 2023. I think it's the anniversary for Return of the Jedi.
Yes, it is. Fingers crossed. Because I know I have certainly enjoyed all of those. So thank you very much for your time.
Sure thing.
And we'll talk at some point, I'm sure, later.
Okay,
one way or the other.
Well, may the force be with everybody.
May the force be with everyone too. Thank you again.